In recognizing the importance of influential women throughout the history of education in Kentucky, no story would be complete without the mention of Mary Cregan Roark. Born in rural Iowa in 1861, Mary was well educated for her time, attending both Nebraska University and the National Normal University in Lebanon, Ohio. Cregan studied science and art while also earning her certification in teaching. Upon graduation, Mary began teaching at the normal school and would for the next 4 years. It was during this time she would meet her husband, Roark Neville Roark, and they would marry in July of 1881. The new couple would soon move to Glasgow, Kentucky, where they took on the roles of president and vice president of the normal school there. The two would lead the school for almost 4 years, during which time Mary would become active in the local women's suffrage movement. In the fall of 1895, Mary would become the first woman elected to the Lexington School Board, and just 3 years later, she was chosen as corresponding secretary for the Kentucky Equal Rights Association, a position she would hold for nearly 15 years. In 1905, Mary, along with her husband and their 4 children, moved to Massachusetts for Roark's graduate studies, but their time in New England would be short-lived due to a new job offer. In June of 1906, the family would move back to Kentucky, this time living in the small town of Richmond. Roark's job would be as the president of the newly established Eastern Kentucky Normal School. Roark would hold this position until February of 1909, when he was diagnosed with brain cancer and moved to Cincinnati for treatment. In his absence, the school's trustees appointed Mary as acting leader, and upon his death just 2 months later, she was granted Roark's full salary. However, Mary would not be recognized with the official title of president until an act of the 2015 Board of Regents. This would make Mary the first woman to lead a public institution of higher education in Kentucky. Although she was just president for a year, her impact can still be seen on campus today. Under her leadership, the school saw the addition of a sports league, the construction of 2 new buildings, which still stand to this day, and the establishment of the first all-women's residence hall. Mary would step down from her role in April of 1910, but continue serving the school as the Dean of Women for another 5 years. In 1916, Roark would leave Kentucky to earn her master's degree at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and 2 years later would pass away in Baltimore at the age of 60. Her body would be returned to Richmond to be buried next to her late husband in Section J of the Richmond Cemetery. For more information about Mary or her husband's influence on Eastern Kentucky University, visit the EKU archives. For the Eastern Progress Media Network, I'm Ethan Howson.